3. Hi, Julie. That recording with Hugh Ashton was so much fun.
It was. It was the next best thing to being there face to face over the table, sharing a big pot of tea. And he was just so personable and so interesting and has so many life experiences. I just like to keep in touch with him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely keeping up with him on Facebook. He is into everything. So many different interests, like you say, too.
Truly. And at some point, I'm anticipating working on a financial thriller that involves finance in London and in the US. And so I'm certainly going to call upon him or impose on him to maybe give me some feedback and some insider knowledge that can help enrich my book. So what a great contact.
Well, it was interesting, like I find with so many writers and authors, they're so giving to other writers and authors. And Hugh said that he's reaching out now to help with anybody with an idea for whatever help they need in whatever part of the process.
Right, which I think is just, so valuable. I think a lot of people have an idea for a book and start writing it and then have absolutely no understanding of the intricacies of what happens after you've finished either the first draft or the finished draft. That long, painful process often for most of us writers that has to take place. But yeah.
Well, it's interesting too because he understands like the big picture of the mystery and the plotting. He understands the characters, but then too he started talking about all the details, even down to the punctuation to get the right flow and everything. That's fascinating to me. Somebody who's a big picture person and a detailed person.
That amazed me as well, talking about, using the late 19th century typography and the way the commas and the punctuation, everything is arranged. And also the conversation about pastiche. Well, I used to think of pastiche as a very negative thing. It's an imitation of something, a copy of something. But through sort of researching the material for this interview and looking at his work and reading his books, I've come to see that it's sort of the highest form of praise, certainly for people like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, to have, a wonderful writer like Hugh Ashton come forward and write these very honorable and dignified pastiches of the Sherlock Holmes novels. It's great.
It really is. And he was tugging at my heartstrings when he was doing the comparisons with the Just So stories by Rudyard Kipling, because
Yes.
I grew up with those fond memories of my dad reading them to me and then me still reading and rereading them over and over. And then to my kids, I treasure those stories so much. And I thought his comparison was really well done.
I thought so too. And I wondered, I read Rudyard Kipling and loved his adult targeted fiction, but I'm thinking a lot of Americans don't perhaps even know who Rudyard Kipling was or what he wrote or have had any exposure to his work. So, it might be time for me to go back and read a few more of his books or some that I haven't explored yet. So thank you, Hugh, for that.
Yeah, I love that Sherlock Ferret series. That
was marvelous. Yeah.
Great characters.
Yeah. Like the rhinoceros, but not a very big one. I just love that. So good.
Really, really excellent. So such a fun time. And, I was excited that he knew about the Father Brown books and is a big fan. I share that with him.
And certainly G.K. Chesterton is kind of a classic mystery writer in Great Britain, but again, those books were written many, many years ago, so I don't know how many of our American listeners might be familiar with those, but if not, they definitely have a treat in store for them. I have for years collected a lot of the quotes from G.K. Chesterton and just really love the way the man's mind works, the way he uses prose so effectively. It's just, he was an amazing human being, truly.
Yeah, I've been reading the books, just can't get enough. But what first hooked me was on the PBS channel. They were showing the BBC series that they have right now. And wow, it's so well done. And that's what got me started. It's absolutely addictive. So if you can't wait to read the books, another resource is the BBC series, and they're on DVD as well, each of the seasons. So you
Oh,
can,
good.
yep,
Okay.
you can buy
Okay.
them or get them from your library, and they're, oh boy, you're just gonna, I can't imagine anybody that doesn't enjoy them. And they're another example for me of cozy mysteries that, they're not fluff. They are fun, and they're fun, but they're not fluff because there is a depth to them. And like in this case, it's like the plots are often involving like little moral dilemmas while you're deducing the guilty party, and the plots kind of leave you wondering and thinking, well, how would I have responded in that kind of a moral situation? I mean, of course, short of murder, but
Right. And that's, I think, one of the great benefits of really well constructed genre fiction, especially cozy mysteries or the more traditional mysteries that we think of. And some people do dismiss them, but under the hands of a skillful writer, I think that a cozy mystery can look like it's all calm and pretty and peaceful on the surface, but in the example of the Father Brown mysteries, he is grappling with some big topics, trust, betrayal, greed, revenge. Um, the fact that he's a spiritual advisor to people and they are sharing their most heartfelt longings and secrets with him. It's just great material for a writer to really dig into, and I just think I can't recommend those books more highly to people maybe that have never written or never read that kind of fiction before. It's well worth their time.
well, and I'm looking forward to. I wasn't familiar with either your recommendation or Hugh's, so I'm looking forward to checking out those two books as well.
That'll be fun, and it's certainly the Barry Eisler book will certainly be something totally different than I think what you're normally reading. So, but the settings and the description and the atmosphere, it's just not like almost any other thriller that I can think of. So,
Well, we should mention anybody who's viewing this podcast as well as listening to it. We have actually put our pictures up on display with our mystery guests of our own.
that's a scary thought.
Well, it's funny that we're both mystery lovers and cat lovers because I've got
Yes.
a writing class that I'm in, and it was just the other night, coincidentally, that they were saying, well, in mystery stories, really, people are not interested in cats. They want mystery dogs. But you and I both have our mystery cats.
Right. And I so disagree with that sentiment because I think cats are the perfect creature or familiar or whatever you want to call them for not only mystery writers but also put into mystery settings because I mean they're aloof, they're enigmatic, they're sneaky, they're elegant. Why not put a cat in a mystery? In fact, one of my books that's under development now, I do have a cat who's very problematic that has sort of a cameo role in one of my mysteries. So we'll see what happens.
And I've got a cat in my book too. So there you go. Tell the listeners a little bit about your cat and your cat's name, of course.
All right. Well, my cat is a long-haired, as they say in the UK, ginger tabby or marmalade cat or an orange tabby, as we say in the United States. And her name is Mochi. She's named after the Japanese rice and ice cream dessert that my son loved when he was 10 years old, which is when Mochi joined our family. Mochi was the offspring of an abandoned cat who was brought into a veterinary clinic near me, along with her two siblings. And we stopped in and said, do you know of anyone that has kittens they want adopted? And they happened to have these three just lovely little cats, and so we took one home with us, and she's been with us now for, more than 15 years, so I guess that makes her a senior cat, but she's very much a princess. The photo that we took, I tried to put a tiara on her just for laughs, and she was not having it, so I'm glad that I had my son take a picture. I'm glad that she held still long enough for me to do that, but she's definitely part of our household, and is not only a companion for me when I'm writing, but also sometimes a nag when she comes in and wants catnip or whatever she wants, and definitely a comfort as well when I'm down and out with a migraine. She seems to know that and always comes to kind of reassure me, which is just lovely. So
Oh, that's nice. Oh, my cat is Pepper Burrito, but in our more formal discussions, I'll address him as Dr. Pepper, and
that's only fair, yes.
around dinner time, I usually call him Pepperoni. So he answers to almost anything, and especially the little treat bags. So
How did he get his name?
my kids. So there you go. That's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And all the variations are from me. So,
Oh, okay. All right. That makes perfect sense.
but he's a shelter cat, and so a mysterious background history. Who knows?
Mm,
But lots of fun. Always enjoy
great.
them.
Part of the family.
That's right. So, well, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed our podcast with Hugh Ashton, and I'm looking forward, as always, to the next guests that we have. There's always all these interesting authors and writers, and I learn so much from what they say.
I do too. And I think we've got a good cross section coming up, not only for the end of the year, but also on into the new year. If I'm remembering correctly, we have a award-winning cozy mystery writer coming up who's also an attorney. And then we have someone who writes military political thrillers who worked for the United States Navy for many, many years. So a good cross-section of writers and viewpoints, and I'm really looking forward to what the new year brings to us.
Yeah, we've got an interesting one in the new year as well. Legal thriller writer who lives in Alaska and writes about being a legal thriller in Alaska.
Oh, that's
So,
right. That's Keenan. Yes.
yes, and she's an
Yes.
award winner as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming up in 2017.
Great. Can't even believe it's almost here.
Okay, well, I'll let you get going on the rest of your day, and I hope the listeners and viewers of the Cats have enjoyed this little after show.
I hope so too.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. Take care.